What's up, everybody? On a Podcast Now Plus, I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about PlayStation buying Bluepoint. Officially, obviously, this had already, inadvertently or unofficially, had already happened back when they bought Housemarque. Obviously, they put out the logo that they also had acquired, and that Bluepoint had entered the PlayStation family. That tweet was quickly removed, and nobody ever really spoke about it again from PlayStation side. I mean, we still all kind of picked fun at it, but they never really said anything, which is it's very funny, very weirdly self-aware or not self-aware from them. But now it's official. Bluepoint is now Sony's. I have no problem with it. I do want to quickly explain that just in case people kind of misunderstand where I stand with these things. I think for a Bluepoint, right, the way they are, where they've historically really just done PlayStation stuff. I mean, you could probably, I would assume people would be fooled if you even told them that this had already happened or they were already part of the PlayStation family. You know what I mean? If you told them that 5, 6, 7 years ago, they would have believed you. So I think when you have that kind of situation, when people are like, oh, I thought they were just owned by them already because all they do is PlayStation stuff. I think when you have that situation, it's completely fine to kind of take a player off the board. The problem I have, and I've always had, and I've said this before, and it's not just Microsoft, right? Microsoft buys Bethesda. I mean, I think good for Microsoft. That's going to help them like a ton. There's nothing, wrong in that aspect, but the idea of buying up that big of a company, taking that many games off the market. And you can say Sony with Spider-Man, that's one. Then you look at Microsoft with, Bethesda, which is like Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Wolfenstein. I mean, it just doesn't end. And again, good for Microsoft, but the idea for me is if Sony buys Bethesda, I'm not happy about that either. If Sony buys Square Enix, I'm not happy. If Microsoft buys Square Enix, I'm not happy. So just want to make that kind of clear for anybody who maybe doesn't really know where I stand on it. I'm fine with this because this is a partnership that's been in the makes, that's been happening for literally decades, you know what I mean? So, and again, you could fool people into believing this was already a thing. So I don't really think it hurts anybody. Whereas, yeah, if you buy a big behemoth, then it's like, okay, well, that's a much bigger deal. That's much bigger ramification. So I'm completely cool with this. Now, in terms of, where it ends, that's kind of where that one ends, right? But what's very interesting now, I actually recorded 2 takes of this video because I ended it, and then I saw this kind of update in a article, I guess, from IGN, where they talked to Bluepoint. They said, our next project, we're working on original content. We can't talk about what it is, but that's the next step in the evolution for us. So I think that's massive, and honestly, that's bigger than the studio being bought. In my opinion, seeing that, I was like, shoot, I got to re-record the video because that's more important to me. It's like, well, number one, I guess the first thing it's what I tweeted, is that the Metal Gear rumors are wrong then. Because remember, one of the biggest things that's come out over the last 4 or 5 months was a pretty big rumor that Bluepoint was making a Metal Gear Solid remake. Not true. Not true. Now, I guess unless they're working on 2 games and they're being just kind of careful with their wording, right? So they're saying to IGN, the next thing, which I guess, chronologically makes sense. They could say, okay, well, we're working on 2 games, but the first, the game that's going to come out first, it's a new game from us. You know what I mean? So that's fine. I have no problem with that. And I guess I want to make that clear too, right? It's interesting because the Metal Gear rumors were false. So that I think opens up Xbox stuff with Kojima and Konami and all that stuff. We've heard that stuff before. Yet again, that could be very fake as well because if the Sony stuff's fake, who's to say the Xbox stuff is real? So you have that, and then again, it's not really disappointing. It's more like, oh, that's just interesting that they're not doing Metal Gear because now I'm excited for that. They've proven that they can handle, all sorts of different games. I guess you can make the argument that okay, can they handle making a game on their own? It almost sounds insulting when you say that. At the same time, I get it. I don't really think it's unfair because really what they've done is worked within, the walls built in these games. They had to, even going back to the Uncharted collection, right? Or whatever they call it, Nathan Drake collection. When they did that, it was Uncharted and Shadow of the Colossus. These are already built games. And yeah, they had to deconstruct them and build them back up from the ground up, which is quite a task. And they are literally masters at remaking games. There's literally no studio I'd want to remake a game more than Bluepoint, just because I think that you're going to get 100%. But at the same time, I'm excited to see what they can do on their own because now, again, they haven't proven they can make a game from start to finish, on their own concepts, but they have proven they can handle all sorts of different games. I mean, they had to work mechanically with Uncharted, like I just said, right? And I'm sure I'm missing some, right? But like even just taking a couple, Uncharted, Shadow of the Colossus, Demon Souls. Let's just take those three. Like those are all fundamentally pretty different games, you know what I mean? So, and they've handled all of them. So I think really what they could make is anything. You know what I mean? You can't even say, well, they can only do kind of like the extremely hard, what you would think of Demon Souls, like the Souls game. They could make a game on their own that's like that. Maybe they're making Bloodborne 2. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that they could realistically tackle. Or they could maybe be making a third-person action game because they probably know how to. You know what I mean? So I think it's very, very cool. And to have a studio, I think to have a studio like that where you know you can give them any game to remake ever, and you know you're going to get, like, a 9 out of 10 game every single time, right? To know you can get that, but then also if they prove themselves here, to know that they can also just fire off their own AAA, like, high-quality games is a really big win. You know what I mean? It's not something I think you immediately think when you buy them that you're going to get both. You think you're at least going to get one, but if you can get both, that's awesome. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. I do a brand new video on this channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.